Handling the chainsaw of bureaucracy comes with a price. Elon told Rogan the left wants him dead.
These are real enemies.
Like, I think they actually want to kill me. And the reason I know this, well, they say so online. You know, there's like Reddit forums where they don't just want to kill me, they want to desecrate my corpse.
Elon's security details working overtime to keep him safe, so the left's taking out its anger on Tesla owners and dealerships. One lib suffering from Musk derangement syndrome just got arrested outside of Boston for vandalizing random Teslas.
Why do you think you have the right to do that?
It's my free speech.
Free speech not on your car?
Oh.
Yeah? That doesn't matter. It's not up to you to say anything.
You guys can get a better car. If you can afford that car...
It's not up to you to say anything.
I guess we have a difference of opinion.
And yes, that was a Palestinian flag strapped to the back of that guy's bike. In a different incident outside of Boston, half a dozen charging stations were torched overnight, and the suspects are still at large. On the West Coast, a radical lefty activist was charged with firebombing and shooting up a Tesla dealership.
On Tuesday, a man was arraigned after police linked him to two separate cases at the Salem Tesla Center. Police say these surveillance images from the dealership show Adam Matthew Lansky throwing Molotov cocktails at the dealership and sparking fires. Police also allege that on a separate occasion, Lansky fired several rounds into the dealership and at least one vehicle.
The left used to care about mass shootings, but when a they-them is pulling the trigger, crickets. But not from the DOJ. The feds are now handling that case. The department also charging Lucy Grace Nelson, a.k.a. Justin Thomas Nelson, a trans activist, for trying to plant a series of explosive devices at a Tesla dealership in Colorado after spray painting Nazi on the building. Lefties who once flocked to Tesla for a green future are now having a change of heart because of crazy libs harassing them. Quote, 2 weeks ago, I was called a Nazi in the parking lot at Kroger. I came home and I told my husband, that's it, I'm done. Another owner is so ashamed she's trying to preempt the protests. Quote, I'm so embarrassed to be seen in that car now, said one owner, who got a bumper sticker that said, I bought this before Elon went crazy. And we're hearing reports that some owners are changing their cars' logos to avoid being targeted. This has become a dangerous and pretty disturbing trend that's now, I guess, not showing any signs of slowing down. Why won't the Democrats denounce their base?
Democratic lawmakers posting the same exact video with the same exact weird script, the same forced curse words, holding a microphone the exact same way. And it gets worse. When Democrats aren't posting cringeworthy videos, many turn into agents of chaos with public stunts, performative outrage. Today, Congressman Al Green was officially censured for his disgraceful conduct during the president's joint address to Congress. Green's behavior was also shameful and bizarre that 10 Democrats actually broke party ranks to censure their colleague. Now, that's a big deal. But that didn't stop Green or the Democrats. They started singing "We Shall Overcome" on the House floor today following the vote. Take a look.
Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker. The House had come to order. The House had come to order.
Well, the Congressional Tabernacle Chorus. Now, keep in mind, Green wasn't the only disruptive Democrat during Donald Trump's his joint address before Congress. There were pointless walkouts. There were weird paddles with different messages, handwritten signs, plenty of outbursts. I love the bingo paddles. Anyway, never mind that they wouldn't stand for the president or the first lady. They couldn't even bring themselves to stand for a brave kid with cancer, the families of murder victims, or a future West Point cadet, or the young wife of a police officer that was murdered. This was a reprehensible display of indignation. Well, the only Democrat I saw that even tried to condemn it was John Fetterman, Senator, Pennsylvania, one of the only Democrats now criticizing his party's behavior. On X, he called it out, said a sad cavalcade of self-owns and unhinged petulance. It only makes Trump look more presidential and restrained. We're becoming the metaphorical car alarms that nobody pays attention to. And right on cue, another car alarm, this time from our favorite Congresswoman, Jasmine Crockett, who is now accusing Republicans of racism. That worked so well during the campaign. Take a look.
As they have decided to go after immigrants and things like that, and they've said, oh, they taking your black jobs. They taking your black jobs. Not really. They are obviously jobs that they want us to go back to, such as work in the fields, all right? Those immigrants that come into our country, they work the fields, something that we ain't done in a long time. And clearly, he is trying to make us go back to the fields.
Unfortunately, it appears Democrats are watching too much MSDNC. That's never a good idea. The network is filled to the brim with conspiracy theorists who peddle nothing but lie after lie after lie about Donald Trump and the Russia hoax and so much more, and feature a nonstop, never-ending loop of Trump hate 24/7. Recently, two of the very worst hosts at the network, Rachel Maddow, the chief conspiracy theorist, and Nicole Wallace, what a sad decline she has had, politicized, chided the 13-year-old cancer survivor that Donald Trump honored during his joint address. His father has now responded. I hope you people over at MSDNC pay attention. Rachel Maddow needs to shut her mouth if she has nothing nice to say. She does not need to put her bad energy on us. Why attack a 13-year-old kid? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't Democrats stand for that? Why wouldn't they celebrate that? Why wouldn't they stand for mothers that lost their children? What does that say about this party today and their friends in the state-run legacy media mob that I have declared officially dead? They have no impact on the American public as it played out on November 5th. Now today, even President Trump responded to this sick, disgusting display. Take a look.
Frankly, what Nicole Wallace said, I've never been a fan of hers, and she's not very talented. But I'll tell you, what she said the other day about that young man is disgraceful. She should be forced to resign. And Rachel Maddow should be forced to resign. Nobody watches her anyway. I don't know if it's not possible they pay her as much money as I hear. But certainly she's lost all credibility, both of them. But what they said the other day, they should be forced to resign about that young person who is suffering greatly.
Now, if they fired Joy Reid, why are these two people still there? Rachel Maddow suggested racism may be involved. Maybe that's something that NBC needs to look into. The media mob, state-run as it is, in the Democratic Party, they have reached a new low. They are in a massive hole, but they can't stop digging. The narcissism, the rage has completely taken over, and the American people, they have taken notice. In fact, a brand new internal poll shared with Politico shows the vast majority of voters think the Democratic Party has lost its way. Well, who thinks they're on the right track? Just 10% think the party has a good strategy for the future. I don't know who they are.
But at least a few Dems have learned something from the past 10 years besides how to be a drag queen. Last month, a centrist-leaning Democratic think tank held a retreat to figure out how to make normal people vote Democrat again. Their mission statement, quote, activist groups and progressive staffers push unpopular cultural positions, making it seem like Dems are more extreme than they actually are. Activists and activist groups promote their single issue and raise money around it, not to make Democrats electable. So, wait, you mean castrating little boys isn't popular? And that it's not cool to watch men beat up girls in sports, sometimes sending them to the hospital? Or that Americans don't want to bring in millions of illegals and make excuses for the ones who kill people? Well, dip me in dog and call me a fudgesicle. Seriously, that turns me on. Yeah, thanks for connecting those dots for us, Matlock. Now they offer Dems advice. Stop focusing on oppression politics without acknowledging the country's progress and potential. It's true. That's like a guy dating a supermodel who's also smart and funny, but he keeps complaining that she's Irish. They say to embrace patriotism, community, and traditional American imagery. Great. But I think that guy is already taken. Yeah. Avoid overly moralistic or condescending messaging. Speak plainly and directly. In other words, watch CNN and then do the opposite. And own the failures of democratic governance in large cities. Translation, Democrats start being Republicans. Now you could say, well, better late than never. But they could have saved this country a whole lot of pain and suffering if they did this sooner. Like when they first realized Joe had the brain of a snapping turtle. And who wouldn't want to be a Republican right now? It's like finding out you're pregnant and this is the dad. According to a CBS News survey, 76% of viewers approved of Trump's speech. It's amazing. That poll's right up there with my abs and kittens calendar. Most people said the speech made them feel hopeful, proud, inspiring, and unifying. You know, the opposite way you feel when you saw these guys. And according to a CNN poll, that's right, CNN, 69% had a positive reaction. 69. Even Rachel Maddow thinks that's a good number. No wonder all the sane Dems are depressed. John Fetterman summed the Dems' behavior up on Tuesday as a sad cavalcade of self-owns and unhinged petulance. It only makes Trump look more presidential and restrained. Yeah, and this is the guy who would wear sweats and a hoodie to a funeral. Bottom line, Trump derangement syndrome became Trump derangement strategy. And by taking over the party, it forced them to come out against everything Trump was for, which, as it turned out, was everything the American public was for. So it left them with nothing but hate. So I do wish the Dems luck who are trying to rid themselves of the craziest, angriest people in their party. But if you listened to me 3 years ago and not the weepy Jimmy Kimmels of the world, you wouldn't be in this mess. You're a brain-dead party, which serves you right for electing a brain-dead president. Let's welcome tonight's guest. His kids love to see him through plexiglass. Actor, writer, comedian Jamie Lissow. She's one of a kind, a chick who can do math. Financial analyst Heather Zumaraga. He doesn't need to go to his high school reunion because he sleeps in the parking lot. Comedian Jim Florentine. And she may be nearsighted, but she's always delighted. Host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. Jamie, you know what sucks? And I'm not going to say your comedy routine, because that's too obvious. It's the fact that it takes Democrats to find out it's unpopular in order to actually change things. Now they're making, oh my God, maybe we shouldn't be for surgically enhancing children's genitals.
Yeah, and it's like they change based on what they think people want them to think. It's not any true ideas. And watching the Trump speech, which I was one of the 69% that absolutely approved, I thought it was a great speech. It was entertaining. I find it just immature that they sit down, they sit on one side while the other side cheers and claps, even when a little boy survives cancer. Like, even at that moment, you would think they would grow. Watching the video of the speech, it reminded me of a lot of my shows, except for the half that stood up and clapped. And but I think in some ways, you know, I'm the divorce guy. I think in some ways Trump is like the Democrats' ex-wife. But guess what? We have children together, and that's the United States of America. And you have to put your ego aside, and you have to care about. Like, I have an ex-wife, but because we have kids, you have to learn to co-parent. Like, I still she actually texted me right before the show. I'm not even kidding you. It says, F you. It's we still communicate just like we did when we were together.
That's a beautiful, beautiful story, Jamie. Heather, I'm trying to figure out, do the Dems have an identity if everything was in this like Trump derangement basket? And now that you find out that Trump is popular, the derangement can't work. But they didn't have a backup plan. What say you, Zumalaga?
They don't have a backup plan. And Jamie, you can get one of those black signs that they're holding up when you want the audience to clap. It's pretty effective.
I could use it.
At least on this show, but not so much in Congress, right? He really didn't say anything that people could disagree with. And so that was the problem, where you see people on CNN and even MSNBC saying, oh, he has a great approval rating. Well, yeah, closing our border, approve. Balance the budget. Yes, we approve. Keeping women out of boys' sports. Men, I should say, and boys' sports. Of course we approve of that. I mean, he had a few digs at Biden, but overall, to Trump's point, I mean, the guy could cure cancer, or he could solve everlasting peace in the world, and the Democrats would not care at this point today.
Good point. You know, Jim, I met your son in the green room. It's good to see that he's older than the women you date.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, he's actually 2 years younger. He's 14, yeah.
Good for you. How are you enjoying this? I haven't talked to you since Trump got into office. How's it going for you?
Oh, it's going great. All the comedians in New York City are miserable. They're all going on stage. They're trying to talk about Trump, but the crowd doesn't want to hear it.
Yes.
Like even a young crowd, like the young New Yorkers, like, please, I don't want to hear it. They're not even boo. If someone goes, who voted for Trump? 10 people raise their hand. They don't even get booed or anything like that.
Yes.
They're all miserable. The crowd's not like, hey, come on, let's just have some laughs, which is good. I haven't seen that yet, but I love what happened. This is a long speech. This is the longest speech ever he did.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's competitive, so he saw like Adrian Brody at the Oscars. He had the longest speech, so Trump's like, watch what I do on Tuesday. The only one that was probably mad was Elon. He's like, come on, I got to get out of here. I got to impregnate another woman. It's killing me.
It is funny, though, when you think about like the desperate desire for those Democrats to appeal to the youth vote by doing that little video game dance. But young people very easy are just like drawn to Trump because he just pisses those people off. He's like the kids' teachers hate Trump. So you got to love Trump.
Absolutely. All my kids' teachers hate Trump, so they all do the opposite, of course.
Yes.
And these young kids like it because he's a ball buster.
Yeah.
And he makes fun of, and this generation loves that stuff, which is great. It was like a comedy club, that whole speech.
Yeah.
Like it was heckling, yelling, people getting thrown out.
Yeah.
You know? He's playing to one side of the room.
Yes.
Like I always do that before I go on stage. I said to the comedian before, how's the crowd? He's like, this side's pretty good, but this one's not. So Trump got to go, all right, the left side's great, this side sucks.
Yes. There's always one old guy that just wanders around, doesn't know where he is. No, they ain't the soup kitchen. Kennedy, what did you make of those Democrats doing the Choose Your Fighter video?
I thought it was so stupid.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they are trying to focus group this stuff, and that's the opposite of leading. Like they're following whatever conservatives are doing right now, and they're so far in front because they're forecasting what problems might be coming up down the road, and Democrats are chasing Republicans' tails right now. And it's so disingenuous, it's so incredibly pointless, and they're spitballing anything, like, can we try patriotism? And it's like, no, you were the guys, you sided with Colin Kaepernick when he started kneeling for the national anthem. Like, that's what your party was doing. And it's like the dean at Barnard College. You know, right now they have a bunch of anti-Israel, anti-Semitic protesters that are super pro-Hamas, and the dean is just trying to pacify them. And that's what Democrats did with progressives for the last 8 years. And this is what you get. You get Trump again.
Yes.
After you tried to E. Jean Carroll him, after you tried to Judge Marchand him, after you tried to Fannie Willis him, none of it worked. And he gets to be president again. And now you're doing a weak impression of him because your fighting skills are lackluster, and Napoleon Dynamite would barf all over you with embarrassment.
That is true. You know, I am wondering, do you have a massive hickey on your neck?
No, I've got whiplash. This is actually a cervical collar.
Is it a cervical collar?
Yes.
It is. It makes your head so tiny.
I actually have a really large head, so I'm trying to overcompensate.
You're like, you know what you remind me of? You remind me like of a container of like a dishwasher soap.
Because I smell so good and I clean your dishes?
No, I just want to pop your head off, squirt you on my plate. I just want to pop your head off and squirt you on my plate, lady.
Slow down, Jeffrey Dahmer. The sequel is not coming out anytime soon on Netflix.
Oh, that is the biggest turtleneck I've ever seen.
It's McQueen, darling.
It is. Is that in style?
Well, it was expensive, so sure.
Yeah. Could you imagine Dana in that? She'd be like, you wouldn't even see her. She'd be like, all right, I should.
She's in here. Wait, hold on. Dana, he's talking about you. No, come out. It'll be fun.
Nicely done.